Pleased to be checking in again with Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch for our weekly City Hall updates. How are you today, Mayor?
So far, so good, Joe. Beautiful morning. Good start to the day.
Indeed, we're looking forward to some milder weather for sure, which is good timing for your State of the City, which will be outdoors this year.
Yes, we thought we'd go outside beautiful Hancock Adams Common, and we're still restricted to so many gatherings, but it'll be a nice change.
According to the Weather Channel, it'll be 51 degrees and sunny at 11 a.m.
Perfect.
Now, if you'd waited till Thursday, it would have been 65, but, you know.
Well, who knew?
I mean, at this time of year, it could be 30 below and snowing, too.
That's very true.
Yeah.
True. This is March. We'll take it. This is bonus days.
Sure. Can you maybe provide a few highlights for us?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the past year and talk a little bit about the great partners we had in getting through this craziness, this very difficult year. So certainly Manad Health, we'll talk a little bit about them and what a partner they've been, first responders. Certainly going to talk about the future, and the future of Quincy College is going to be the really focus of my talk today, and what it means to the city economically, what it means to the city traditionally, and what it means to the students that it serves. And as you know, we'll be talking about a new building very soon, so this will be laying the groundwork, if you will, for making the case for a permanent home for Quincy College.
Yes, I know you'll be announcing the formation of a committee to deal specifically with that. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I've asked Catherine Craven is a member of the Board of Governors of the college. She's also the Chief Administrative Officer for Babson College. She's also Chairman of the Department of Education. She's a brilliant woman. She was the first Executive Director of the School Building Authority, and then she oversaw the UMass Systems Building Authority. She's seen about $11 billion worth of construction and debt, and she's agreed to chair the committee for me to really put together the programming and the actual design and the financial package that will be coming in the coming months. Of course, we'll be going to the council for the first piece, which will be acquisition of property, and then the other piece will come later as we get into the design phase. But Catherine brings with her a tremendous experience, and she's agreed to work with us on it. She'll chair it. I think Joe Shea from the Board of Governors will serve on it. Richard DeCristofaro, the president of the school, of course, will serve on it. Paul Hines, my commissioner of public buildings, will be on it. Eric Mason, my CFO, will be on it, and probably a handful of others, in and out of folks, my staff, and Dr. DeCristofaro staff. So looking forward to a robust process to get that building moving.
Is the hope still to locate that at the present site of the Monroe Building?
Yes, it is.
How far over would that go in that block, Mayor? Is that whole block?
It's the two-story building. You got the big residential building next to it,
Yep.
where Starbucks is. That stays. It's the two-story building closer to City Hall that would go, and the building would go on that pad.
Okay. So, and I noticed you didn't really speak at all about the glass building, at least in today's presentation. Is that still on your radar?
It is still. I mean, we did talk about it last year, and it is part of the program going forward, and we'll. I'm not getting into great detail today about the actual building. We're going to let the committee put that together, but certainly that's still on the table. The building it basically needs everything, Joe. It needs a roof, it needs mechanical, it needs fire suppression, it needs an elevator. The window systems are failing, and that's what the building is made up of, all glass windows. So, you're probably looking at $10 to $15 million over the next 10 years to spend on that building. And then you still got a 70s building that, is it worth it, So that'll be part of the discussion, part of the engineering analysis and architectural work as we go forward.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain a little bit about some efforts that you're hoping to increase enrollment at Quincy College, specifically from the Quincy Public Schools?
Yes, we have a program where we're going to be the recipients of a major grant from the State Street Foundation. Catherine Craven was actually helpful with that as well, which pays for local kids, fall into certain categories in Quincy High and North Quincy High, and while they're in high school, they can enter into some programs at Quincy College and get credits for them, so they can really get started on their degree early with this program. So it's an excellent program for some of the kids who want to get a head start I know there's some kids in high school that they meet their obligation on the requirements fairly early, and then looking for other ways to further the education, whether it's electives and things. This will give them an opportunity to plug right into college credits right while they're still in high school.
Yeah, I know you really see the college as a driving force for the city going forward. It's quite obvious from your remarks that'll be delivered today that you see it as a crucial piece of the city's future.
Well, it has a economic value as well. We had a study done by UMass Dartmouth, Dr. Goodman, and it results in about $50 million a year to our city economically. And the other piece that I think is so very important is, we've talked a lot this year about the social justice issues and equality, etc. Well, this school serves a high minority population. It serves students from all kinds of countries across the world. Almost 50% of the student population are people of color. So, this is a great opportunity for us to put our money where our mouth is. A lot of people have had a lot to say about the social justice issue over the last several months. Well, this is a perfect way for us as a city, as a community, really to respond to the need of some folks that have been left behind. This is a school that allows some kids that may never go on to get started in their educational career, and we've got some great information and studies that prove that there's great value here. These kids go on and get their degree and get decent jobs and do quite well. So, I think Quincy College has been it's more than 60 years old now, and started by our city fathers, and they talked about grades 13 and 14. Well, it's become far more than that. And the other piece, Joe, is we've had discussions with a number of our corporate citizens who are very interested in having specific programs to get their employees trained at the college. So I think there's so much potential to grow this college for all the right reasons. And we've gone through some tough years, no question about it, but I think we're back on solid footing. But really, for the college to be cemented for the future, it needs a permanent home. It can't be like a nomad roaming from building to building throughout the city when space is available. And the other benefit of this, I know people say, oh, that's going to be a lot of money, that's expensive. Well, instead of the college paying rent at a President's Place, they pay the city rent, which pays the debt service on the building. So it makes a ton of sense financially, as well as all the other reasons I just stated.
Speaking of finances, announced last week your proposal to refinance the city's pension liability, including that of Quincy College. Could you maybe expand on that a little bit?
Sure. This can get complicated, but to keep it as simple as I can, the city is obligated to cover these unfunded liability for the retirement system. Now, people should understand that employees pay 11% off their salary towards their pension. So you want to make sure people understand that. But many years ago, when the pensions, deductions weren't as, aggressive, and over the years, the city's pension portfolio has not performed extremely well. Therefore, we have an unfunded liability with the pension system. Now, by 2037, under state law, it has to be fully funded, which means if you look at the schedule for payments going forward, for example, this year we paid $32 million in our city budget towards the pension system. July 1st, that goes up by $4 million to $36 million. If you look at the schedule in the coming years, it goes up pretty dramatically to meet the obligation to fund it fully under state law. So what we're doing is we're going to take advantage of the historically low interest rates. We'll pay off the unfunded liability in one big lump sum, about $450 million. Then we'll pay a debt service note on that each year. What makes this work is that payment each year will be significantly less than what we would have been paying under the schedule that was already in place to fully fund it. So, for example, Joe, the first year we could be saving about $20 million, and each year after that it will be $10 to $12 million savings going forward. And it only works because of our historic low interest rates. That's what makes this thing work. And so I think it's an easy one for the council, and I don't mean to diminish their work and their due diligence that they're going to need to do, but The reality is we're dealing with our unfunded liability and at the same time saving money. Now, some of those savings, the money, I want to commit to reserve and also the other public employee benefits called OPEB, which we have to deal with as well. So I think it's an excellent, solid program that puts us in a good position financially, and I look forward to the City Council's meetings on this.
Would that be a guaranteed fixed interest rate?
Yes, it would.
And for how many years?
Well, we could do 20 to 30 years.
Okay.
There's options here on how we do it and how we lay it out. But, the schedule was going to go through 2037, although I think that the state would have been petitioned to extend that again.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is we're gonna push for a 30-year note, and we'll be ahead of the game by millions.
And how would that impact the city's bond rating?
It would have no impact, Joe,
Okay.
because they look at it as an unfunded liability today.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take on this debt, they don't view that against us in the amount of debt we're carrying. They look at it as kind of neutral, that we're dealing with a unfunded liability that will make, we got a plan, we're dealing with it. You kind of get points for that.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically said to us, it won't hurt us, it won't help us from the rating side, which is fine. We're in good shape on our rating.
Okay. And you'll put that to the councils this spring?
Yes, so we've introduced it generally, but we bring in the specific appropriation in very soon.
Sure. Very good. Mayor, some improvement going on along Marymount Parkway you'd like to talk about?
Sure. Marymount Parkway between Furnace Brook and Hancock Street has been a little rough. The road conditions there, the utilities underneath need attention, so this summer we'll continue to move forward on utilities under the road. We have a master plan to completely redo the road, make it have more of a park feel, because technically that street cut through Marymount Park when they did it many, many years ago. So it'll have a better feel there. We're also designing the culvert bridge that goes over the creek there, right near the intersection of Furnace Brook. That's being redesigned. That's in bad shape. We got to replace that as well. So, we're talking, as you know, a lot of infrastructure over the last several years, and we're going to be dealing with a major road construction project for the next 5 to 10 years. We're going to be dealing with the council on that as well in the coming weeks. And some of that savings that I've talked about from the refinancing, if you will, of our pension obligation bonds can also be used toward street resurfacing. I've taken quite a note of everywhere I've been in the city, and the streets. We've done a great job in the city on our parks and playgrounds and our schools, our buildings, municipal buildings, and we've done some good work on our utilities underground in some of our streets. But we're way behind on the streets, and we're going to make a major effort working with the city council to catch up on streets. And so if you carry Marymount Parkway and you continue on Southern Artery needs to be rebuilt all the way by the cemetery, all the way down towards Washington Street.
Wow.
And that's a very big road. That's like a mini highway, the volume that carries every day from the South Shore coming through our city. So a lot of need out there on infrastructure. We're going to be dealing with these challenges. But Marymount Parkway is kind of a fun one because it's part of Marymount Park, park that was given to the city in 1885 by Charles Francis Adams. It's a gem for us as a city, both for passive recreation, but also great utility for our active recreation as well.
Sure. That'll be getting underway this year?
That's correct.
Yeah, very good. I hate to ask so soon, Mayor, but I'm sure you've given thought already to things like Memorial Day, Flag Day this year, and what might or might not be able to take place.
Yes, we've actually been meeting on that, trying to come up with some alternatives. For the Flag Day, for example, what we're kicking around is can we do the parade? We'll stretch people out, but not have the flag raising up at the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's where people gather in close contact.
Right.
And, maybe we can still do the fireworks in Quincy Bay, and so people could spread out to watch them. We're looking at different options right now. Memorial Day, same thing. Do we have the parade? The gathering has got to be simple. That's where the regulations will start easing up by May, I'm sure, in June, but I don't think we'll be quite out of the woods from the recommendations that I've been seeing from the CDC. So I think we just got to be smart about it. I think people are ready for these celebrations, but I want to be careful that we're we're not adding to the burden of things, but we're dealing with it responsibly. So we expect to have some sort of celebration for both, but we're working on those details.
Sure. I know probably not a Senior Olympics again this year, or Cleaner Greener in its full form at least.
Yeah, those are good questions.
Yeah.
The flip side is, the Senior Olympics, all those seniors probably would have been vaccinated, right?
Ah, true.
So who knows? We got to talk to the team on that one.
Mm-hmm.
The Cleaner Greener, we're going to continue to have the Cleaner Greener on specific sites, but we won't have the outing up at Fashion Field.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that just got onto their beach, their local park. They can deal with that. It's where the cookout is where you have the real big gathering where people are in tighter quarters. So obviously we'd have to pass on that this year, but
sure.
We'll still have the cleanup.
Lots of things to look forward to, hopefully, this year as things start to see the light of the end of the tunnel for sure.
Absolutely. It's been a long year for everybody, and
I
think that between obviously the pandemic easing up, it appears, and the good weather coming, I think it's people are ready. People just are ready to get back to some kind of normalcy.
Any progress on the Furnace Brook Golf Club to report on yet?
Well, we continue to meet as a committee. We stay in touch also with Councilor Kane. That's his board. Dave Murphy's heading up the group on the reuse of the facility. It'll continue to be a golf facility. We've got to figure out what kind of improvements. That's the study we're doing now. For example, the irrigation system needs to be replaced. All the equipment up there is old. The building itself doesn't meet ADA requirements for a public facility. We're looking at Forbes Hill, the actual field next to the golf course, and reuse that or repurpose it, I should say, perhaps for some additional tennis and horseshoe and bocce courts. So this could be a really neat recreational facility for the people of our city. Continue to have the golf, which brings in revenue, which can help us support the facility. So a lot of details to it. They've got a landscape architect on board. They've got a building architect on board to look at options on the building to meet the requirements of the day. So good progress. Technically the lease is up this June, but we've extended with Furnace Brook through December.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't make any sense to change horses in the middle of the season. It just doesn't.
Sure.
So we'll just get through the rest of the year, finish up planning, and immediately get underway at the end of the season on the improvements so that by next spring we can get back at it.
Great. It's a lot of people, I'm sure, enjoy the value of outdoor recreation these days, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I think it's been highlighted even more through this pandemic, how important it is. No question about it.
Good to talk to you, Mayor. Appreciate your time as always.
My pleasure, Joe. Enjoy the beautiful day.
Yes, thank you. You too.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.